It's just laundry day. Your hands are cold, your skirt is wet, and people are already doing that thing where they stop mid-step and stare. Then horses hit the bank. A court agent gets off, looks at you once, and starts inspecting you like market stock. No warning, no choice. In one breath, you go from village nuisance to state pickup, because apparently your face now belongs to a beaten kingdom. So why is the court hauling you away? You expect a cell, maybe a work yard. Instead, you get steam, scented water, soft cloth. People scrub river mud off you like they're restoring stolen treasure. Your kingdom can barely afford rice, but suddenly, it can afford perfume. Not for kindness, for investment. Nobody says choice again. They say posture. They say stillness. They say the defeated king needs service. Then they start feeding you better than half the court. A woman pinches your chin higher. Another smacks your wrist when you reach like a villager. By sunset, even the way you breathe belongs to someone else. You sleep behind carved doors now. You are watched while eating, watched while bathing, watched while walking across a room. Luxury turns out to be prison with nicer fabric. Every comfort comes with the same message. This is not your new life. This is packaging. Then the lessons get weirdly precise. Music first, smile later, speak less from the throat, more from the teeth. Step shorter, turn slower, let silence do work. You learn how to pour wine without splashing, laugh without showing strain, and remember who hates whom after one conversation. It feels less like grooming and more like somebody built a military academy for eyelashes. The strategist visits often. He does not flirt. Worse, he studies. He watches your face the way a carpenter checks a blade. If a joke lands badly, he notices. If your eyes drift, he notices. If you show pity at the wrong name, he notices that too. Men train horses with less discipline. Soon they strip your village off you in layers. Your accent goes first, then your old songs, then the habit of speaking before permission. They drill court stories into your head until your real childhood starts feeling like something you dreamed with cold hands in a river. You are not being improved. You are being replaced. And still nobody says the final thing out loud. They just lower their voices when they mention the rival kingdom. The man who crushed yours comes up like bad weather. Powerful, proud, easily pleased, surrounded by silk, music, and people too scared to bore him. Then one day, the strategist lets the silence sit, and you finally understand. You are not being trained for marriage. You are being aimed. That changes everything fast. Normal affection is suddenly banned. No glances at guards, no attachment to servants, no private promises. Even your future husband is treated like a siege target. Your face, your walk, your timing, your voice, all of it is being sharpened for one specific man across the border. And when the travel chests finally appear, lacquered and waiting, you realize the next lesson is not in this palace. Now they finally ship you out. Not in chains, in silk, folded up like a diplomatic apology with a pulse. You cross into the court that crushed your homeland, and every guard does the same stupid thing. They check sleeves. They check boxes. They check hairpins. Nobody checks the face. Nobody has a procedure for confiscating the actual weapon. So you glide through. One look from the rival king and his whole day derails. Officials are waiting. Petitions are stacked. Somebody probably rode for days to be heard. Too bad. He sees you, stops, and state business suddenly becomes optional. That is how fast this works. Armies took years. Your entrance takes one glance, they move you deeper inside. Past courtyards, past screens, past the point where a guest can pretend she's leaving soon. By evening, you have rooms, attendants, combs laid out in rows, and people kneeling to ask how warm you want the bath. You are being treated like treasure. Treasure with guards. The palace women clock you instantly. Some are born to titles your family could never pronounce. Doesn't matter. They still lower their eyes at your doorway because his eyes don't. Rank is supposed to come with paperwork. You just walk in and bend the furniture arrangement. Servants start rebuilding your comfort like it's a sacred emergency. Cushions change. Curtains change. Floors get covered. Lamps get moved because you once glanced at a corner too long. The king calls your taste simple, which is convenient because now he can spend absurd amounts of money proving how simple you are, and you can't refuse any of it. Refusal looks rude. Acceptance looks dangerous. Either way, you're still inside a beautiful box. Rumors breed fast in polished halls. Some call you a heavenly gift. Some call you a curse with good posture. Women send gifts with smiles sharp enough to shave wood. Men bow too deeply, then whisper after. Even hatred has to arrive wrapped nicely, which changes everything. Nobody trusts you. Everyone watches you, but the one man who matters keeps making the watching worth it. Doors open before you touch them. Schedules bend. People start guessing your moods like weather reports. And then you notice something new. It isn't just attention anymore. Attention is starting to move other people for you. Now the dangerous part starts. You still have no title, no seal, no chair in council, but somehow the room keeps waiting for your face before it decides reality. You ask, lightly, why the palace music always sounds so funeral. New musicians appear. You pause too long at a courtyard wall. Suddenly masons are hauling stone by noon. A minister can spend months begging for grain storage. You get pawns because you looked bored once. That is the trick. Nothing can sound like an order, so everything travels disguised. Taste, a sigh, a laugh, silence at the wrong moment. You are doing statecraft through vibes, which is funny until thousands of people have to carry lumber for your mood. The court catches on fast. Men who would never bow to a law bow to a preference. They start trying to reach the king before dinner, before wine, before you. They flatter you in polished court speech, then again in your own border accent, just in case one version buys them another week of relevance. And you learn the exchange rate. A smile gets a performance approved. Curiosity gets a garden expanded. One offhand wish for a better view turns into crews digging earth, rerouting water, cutting timber, painting pavilions, and inventing a scenic experience for a man who already owns a kingdom. The benefits are real, which is how the trap works. Boatmen get hired. Builders get paid. Perfumers, dancers, carvers, cooks, tailors, all suddenly busy. The palace glows. Markets hum. For a second, it almost looks like prosperity. Then the bill shows up wearing human bodies. Labor gangs vanish from useful work. Timber walks away from practical projects. Tax grain turns into banquets. Bronze turns into fittings for pleasure boats. Entertainment stops being entertainment and starts eating the state from the inside. You feel it in stupid little ways. More torches at night, more feet running when you mention an outing, more hands kneeling over fabrics while petitions wait unopened somewhere else. Official government still exists on paper. Real government now enters the king's ear after dark. And once a kingdom learns that private desire moves faster than law, serious men start looking at you like a fire in the curtains. Then somebody finally says it in the room. Not softly, not in code. The warning general looks straight at the rival king and basically says, "That girl is a breach with earrings." You feel every servant freeze. Then you wait for the obvious thing. A king listens. A court tightens. Your access gets cut. Nope, he snaps at the general instead. Because the accusation lands too close to his pride, that is your ridiculous advantage now. The more accurately someone describes the trap, the more the king has to defend it. Because admitting you are dangerous means admitting he built his own leash and put it on willingly. So the warning general gets pushed back, then punished, then treated like the problem for noticing the fire. One of the only adults in the kingdom points at the collapsing roof, and the room decides his tone was unacceptable. After that, the palace learns fast. Not loyalty. Risk management. Your Congo's missing once. 3 people panic. A tray arrives late. The maid apologizes like she dropped a baby. A commander can wait outside for hours. Your curtain cannot. You still hold no office. You sign nothing. But your irritation now outranks military advice. And once everyone sees that, the whole place bends around it. Reports stack up with their cords still tied. Petitions sit unopened. Drums for rehearsal get heard before border alarms. Musicians glide in immediately. Veterans get stopped at doors by boys with polished sleeves. The palace gets brighter by the week. More silk, more lanterns, more polished floors reflecting people who should be in armor. It starts to feel less like a government and more like an expensive distraction with walls. That is how ruin sneaks in here. Not with one dramatic order, with 1,000 tiny hesitations. Nobody wants to be the next man punished for saying the obvious, so they stop saying it. Then they stop trying. Then they start adjusting schedules around your smile like national survival is a minor inconvenience. You barely even need to ask for things now. Sometimes you do less damage by doing nothing. You keep the king close. He misses reviews, delays decisions, lets messages wait. Home starts to feel far away to him. That is perfect for you, terrible for everyone under his banners. And while the court keeps clapping on beat, something beyond these bright halls is starting to break for real. Now the soft rot pays out. The rival king keeps treating you like a luxury item. Your homeland treats that as an opening. By the time armies move, the damage is already done. Audiences run late. Orders wait outside silk curtains. Road crews got diverted. Storehouses got skimmed. Men who should argue logistics are arguing over entertainments instead. You did not swing a sword. You made sword swinging arrive late, hungry, and badly led. That turns out to matter more. Then the attack lands, and the polished kingdom folds weirdly fast, not like some heroic last stand, more like a grand house whose beams were termites the whole time. Messages stall. Commanders hesitate. Money that should have fed troops already vanished into gardens, boats, music, and whatever kept the king smiling for one more night. A state can survive insults. It struggles to survive vibes as policy. That is the sick little trick here. Everyone thought you were decoration. Then the decoration starts breaking roads, schedules, budgets, and chain of command. You feel the panic change shape. Servants who once bowed now move like the floor is cracking. Officials stop sneering. They start counting exits. And then it is over. The rival kingdom loses. Your side wins. The strategy worked. You helped hollow out a throne from the inside and hand it to your own people. So this should be your victory lap, right? Gold, titles, a nice house. Maybe people finally stop acting like your face is a public emergency. Absolutely not. The second the war is won, your job disappears. And without the job, you are terrifying. Because what are you now? A heroine? Maybe. Proof that a ruler can be pulled around by desire until his kingdom snaps? Also yes. That second part is the problem. No court wants to celebrate that too loudly. If they praise you in public, they admit the trick works. If they keep you close, every wife, minister, and prince gets nervous. If one woman helped wreck a kingdom once, who wants her near a stable one now? You become dangerous evidence, too valuable to insult, too radioactive to display. The same success that should make you untouchable makes everyone quietly step back. You can feel the temperature drop. The smiles are still there. They just stop reaching the eyes. Doors that once opened quickly now open after a pause. Conversations die when you enter. Even gratitude gets awkward. The men who used your beauty like a siege engine cannot exactly put that on a victory banner. So the reward for saving the state is suddenly being the thing the state needs hidden. This is the part nobody tells you when they turn you into a weapon. Weapons are precious during the fight. Afterward, people ask where to lock them, and you are harder to lock away than a blade. You can talk. You can be seen. You are a walking reminder that power got beaten by appetite. Kings do not like reminders like that. So victory starts curdling almost immediately. The war is done. The cheering rises. And somewhere inside that celebration, people are already deciding whether you leave, disappear, or get folded into silence before your usefulness turns into a threat. You win, which is terrible news for you. The rival court is wrecked. Your homeland gets its revenge, and suddenly everyone looks at you like a lit candle in a dry barn. You know too much. You are too close. You are living proof that a kingdom got gutted through pillows, parties, and one man acting stupid on purpose. States can celebrate that privately. They cannot leave it walking around in silk. So your future turns into rumors. Fast. One version says you get quietly killed. No trial, no speech, just an escort, a boat, and too much polite silence. Another says the strategist comes back for you, which is touching. Except he also helped turn you from river girl into weaponized luxury. Great rescue plan. Love being saved by management. Either way, every road feels wrong. Every cart creak sounds official. Every ferry looks like transport or disposal. Nobody bothers explaining. Men just stop meeting your eyes. If you do get out, survival gets meaner, not easier. You are not built for anonymity anymore. Palace life trained your hands, your voice, your timing. You know how to make a room lean toward you. That used to move kings. Now it gets innkeepers curious and guards attentive, which is exactly what you cannot afford. So you shrink, head down, plain clothes, fewer words, eat quickly, sleep lightly, leave before dawn. The sane face that once delayed armies now has to pass a ferry line without being remembered by a bored teenager with a pole. And the river comes back. That is the ugly joke. You started by the water. washing cloth, half freezing your hands numb. Now water means escape, hiding, maybe burial. A boat can carry you home. A boat can carry you nowhere. From the bank, those look exactly the same. After that, your life stops holding still long enough for history to pin it down. Some say you vanish with the strategist. Some say you were drowned. Some say you return to ordinary life, which sounds nice until you remember ordinary life already broke the first time people noticed your face. There is no clean reset here. Once kingdoms use you, peasant life is not waiting politely in the background. And that is how the record goes crooked. Armies get dates, kings get speeches, fallen states get neat endings. You get fog, not because nothing happened, because too much did. Because if the truth is that a washer from the river helped reroute labor, policy, and war through desire, then every proud official has to admit the machine was that fragile. So you survive as maybe saved, maybe erased, maybe turned into a legend because legend is safer than paperwork. And somewhere in that fog, another hand is already reaching for the story.